And Lucy Baines Johnson joins me now live from Austin. Ms. Johnson, thank you very much for coming to the Saturday show.
How could I be anywhere else but here?
Well, talk about why is it important for you to be there right now?
Well, let me tell you a little bit of the history of my relationship. In 1963, when my father was vice president, he went to Gettysburg on those hallowed grounds where so many fought and died for freedom. And he said, until justice is blind to color, until opportunity is unaware of race, and until education is not impeded by the color of your skin, emancipation will be a proclamation, but not a fact. All these years later, emancipation is still, alas, not a fact. And I know when my father worked so hard for the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Rights Act, he went to those who were great civil rights supporters and said, I need you to bring to pressure to the nation's conscience the importance of voting rights. If you do your part, I'll do mine, and with all my pride and all my gratitude. And that is exactly what he did. And so today, I'm 74 years old. Can you imagine what it'd be like for me to meet my father one day in heaven and say, I didn't do my part? This is the only place I can be, because generations of Johnsons are forever on the side of justice. And we shall not sleep until all of us shall overcome bigotry's strangle on our nation.
Ooh, you just spoke to my heart, Ms. Johnson. What would your father say about the fact that his daughter, 56 years after he signed a voting rights bill into law, is marching along with others in Texas to protect the right to vote?
Well, I will not put words in Lyndon Johnson's mouth in his death, as I can assure you, I dare not in his lifetime. But I'd like to believe that he would feel that I am simply doing the right thing. That's what he always tried to do for all of our people, because, as he so eloquently said, when there is bigotry towards some, there is loss for all. And I have 16 beautiful grandchildren and 5 wonderful children. And I am very concerned about the state of affairs that we're handing over to them. And so I just have to do my part.
Ms. Johnson, what would your father say? And if you don't want to put words in his mouth, what would you say to those Texas legislators who seem to be doing their level best to take the right to vote away from fellow Texans?
I would like to say how proud I am of the Texas Democratic legislators who've gone to D.C. in an effort to try to see if we can continue somehow, some way to reason together. And I would beg those legislators who are trying to impede the right to vote to recognize how important it is to reason together for justice. After all, we'll all lose out if they don't. And back in 1965, my father gave the first pen used to sign the 1965 Voting Rights Act, not to a Democratic legislator, not to one of the great civil rights people there, but to Everett Dirksen, the minority senator leader. And he said, when I said to him after we got into the car together, in my idealistic 18-year-old way, how on earth Daddy, could you have given that to the Republican leader rather than one of those great civil rights leaders? And my father simply said, Lucy Baines, the civil rights leaders were already for this legislation, as I was. But if Everett Dirksen hadn't been willing to bring his people with him and supported those great civil rights leaders and I, we'd have had a bill. We'd have never had a law. So it takes working together. We need the Republican leaders to care about justice. After all, they have children too, and they're going to give them an unjust and cruel world if they don't try to come together for voting rights, not just for them, but for everybody. I would beg them to awaken their conscience and be the courageous people like all the courageous people that are here today.
Lucy Baines Johnson, I cannot tell you how much of an honor it was to have you on the Sunday Show. Thank you very much for coming on.
I can't tell you what it meant to me to have the chance to speak up for justice. It was the right thing to do in '65, and it's the right thing now. We have a wonderful group of people out here putting the pressure on the nation's conscience and giving, I believe, President Biden and Vice President Harris the support they need to make the great civil rights laws of our time indeed the law of the land.
And with that, we're going to have to leave it there.